Okay, so in this video we're going to look at how to use radio buttons. Now, just to remind you what radio buttons are, these are your simple round buttons, and when you click one and you click another button, the first button is deselected. You can see there as I go through, I'm selecting K2. As soon as I select Mount Everest, then K2 becomes unselected. So unlike multi-choice, you can only have one possible option. So let's look at, I'm not going to go through the CSS that this uses because it uses the same CSS as in the previous video for multi-choice questions. So for the CSS explanation, please refer to that. It uses the same CSS document. So you can see there we have the link to the CSS, which as I just mentioned is in the other video. The head section works exactly the same way, so it automatically adjusts for the size of the screen. You'll notice as well that in the head section I've not put in the link to the JavaScript file that this uses. That's because I want to show you that you can put the JavaScript elsewhere, and we'll look at that as I look at the body code now. So again, we have the quiz container link div tag. We have the heading, which in this case is H2, which is the question. What is the tallest mountain in the world? Well, technically it's not Mount Everest, but the Mount Everest is the answer in this example. It's actually a mountain in the ocean. That is the largest. Then we have the labels, which here you can see the type of button that we're having for input is radio. So unlike the last example, which was for multi-choice, this is the radio button. But again, we have to give it a name. So in this case, I've just called it name single option, single option, single option for every button. If I wanted a fifth button, I would just copy this code and just make sure it's got the same name, single option. That way, when it calls the JavaScript later on, it will look at anything that has this name here. Okay. Then we've got the button again, which is just like we had last time, which is just a standard button with an on-click command, which calls the function calculate single choice score, which is in our JavaScript file, which we're going to look at the moment. And we have the word submit, close the button, and then we have the div tag to bring back our result, so to tell us our score and what the actual right answer is. So, and then the last line of code here is, unlike in the previous example where I showed you multi-choice where I put the script in the head section, I'm showing you that you can just have it in a different place. Okay, as long as it calls it at some point to look at the, so it can evaluate the score and your choice against the function that you're calling, which, as I said, is here on line 22. So if I click K2, we know that's not the right answer. It says, sorry, I've scored 0 out of 1, and tells me the correct answer, which is Mount Everest. So if I click Mount Everest, it works. So let's go and look at the JavaScript for this. So you can see the JavaScript file that I want to look at is singlechoicequiz.js. And you can see here, this is the function, calculate single choice score. We've got the constant correct answer, which is Mount Everest. It's a constant because it never changes in the case of this question. And then we've got constant selected option equals document.querySelector, and it takes the name from the single option checked. So remember, we called our option block here single option. I'll just show you that again in the HTML. Just to remind you of where that is, if I can find the right HTML file that I created. I've got so many here. So single choice option. There we go. And you can see there's the name single option. So that's what it's looking at in that function, which is single choice quiz here. So it's looking for whatever we've ticked here for being checked. So checked is the key word here. So when I check it or tick in it, that's what it's looking for. And then it says if selected option, so that's this variable here, the constant, is equal to the correct answer, which is this constant here. So if I've ticked Mount Everest, this if statement is run, and it changes my score here. Else, if it's a different option, my score is just 0. Okay, it doesn't change the score here. Okay. And then we've also got the variable let message equal nothing at the start, because we don't have anything until we've clicked submit. And then if we click the message, it says your score is, it passes the score variable and the correct answer as well, so we can tell people what the correct answer is. And if no answer is selected, it says please select a correct answer there. So if I click the submit button and there's no answer selected, so if I just refresh this and show you how that works, it says please select an answer. But if I do select an answer and click it, then obviously we pass that score and the correct answer to that message, and that is what's displayed within the HTML document here. So you can see here that single result is what's passed to that div tag, and the name here is single result, and it passes it to the HTML document. So I said I'm not going to go through the CSS. If you want to look back at that, that's in the previous video. But that's how you create a simple radio button. Okay, in the next video we're going to look at how to create a drop-down menu question. Okay, thank you for watching.